Greetings and welcome. I do think we are broadcasting. Totally awesome to have the opportunity to connect with you here live on YouTube for my weekly live show, simply known as SEM Mondays, which of course stands for Source Energy Medicine. And last day of August, kind of hard to wrap my brain around. And before I forget to mention, next Monday here in the U.S. is a federal holiday, so I will not be here live with you, but I do have a special treat for you. It's an interview that I recorded a while back. I'm hoping that it'll be all edited and finished and tidied up perfectly, so it'll be available for you next Monday. If that's not available, something else awesome will be, but yeah, here in the U.S., it marks the unofficial end of summer, and of course the official end of summer is September 21st or thereabouts. So, namaskar, Sadavjeet, thank you for your kind words. Judith said, tried to watch the vaccine revealed and saw the mask segment, and that's all I could open. So frustrating. So I sent emails with a link to a page that had two excerpts from the Vaccines Revealed docuseries, right, the COVID edition. And I don't even know if I can say that word probably many more times before getting booted off of here. But we'll try. We'll see, because that's actually a bit of the topic that I want to talk about. But on that same page, Judith, there were two videos. The first one was with Dr. Andrew Kaufman, and below that was the player for the personal protection PPE, right? Personal protection equipment experts, right? Two women who that's what they do, right? That's their profession. And they talked about the everything related to masks, right? Are they effective in terms of helping to keep me safe? Helping to, if someone is infected, can they spread it? And is there any potential downside to wearing a mask, especially long term, right? Not long term, but for many hours at a time, which a lot of people are. And of course, children are wearing masks these days in most schools. So it's a lot to know, a lot to understand. Just send us an email or something, Judith. And I'm not sure why you weren't able to watch those two, but those are on my pages, right? Or on my servers. So we can't put those on YouTube because they'd be taken down and likely jeopardize our channel in general. But they're on our servers, so they're still there. You could still access them and watch them. When you sign up for the series, right, the docuseries, it's 9 parts, and I believe the way they have it set up these days is when you put in your email, you go into an email sequence. So you have to keep an eye out for episode 1 is available now, starting tonight. Episode 1 is available, and you have 24 hours to watch episode 1. It's a lot. And then the next day, episode 2, and you'll get that for 9 days, and that's it. Other than that, you have to purchase it, right, to be able to see it when you want to see it, or long term. And they have a wide variety of different packages available. So, I'm friends with Jeff Hayes, who is Patrick Tempo's partner in the Vaccine Revealed, really in the Revealed series. They've done a number of different Revealed films, and they do quality productions, and they do have very credible, well-credentialed experts in all of their documentaries. So, you could check it out. You could sign up again for the free screening window, which I don't think is fair to them, but you can sign up for it again. I think it's well worth the investment, and they have a DVD option, right? Or they have different options in their packages. I was able to watch a lot of the content when it was streaming when I signed up, and there were some segments that for me were worth the investment to own the entire series. So, on that note, there are an awful lot of people who have been communicating with us in various ways. That communication comes to us usually by email, some through live chat, even oddly enough. But it's there's so much concern, ongoing concern about COVID and about the vaccines. And, we've got the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and those who are vaccinated have a different set of concerns than those who are unvaccinated. And the more research that I do, the more I realize that the flu thing, right, is not a concern at all. And everything that I covered in the emergency preparedness class would cover anyone, not only for this thing, but the next thing, right? And the next thing, and the next thing, because viruses mutate. We know viruses mutate. This Delta variant is I think, a hoax. The way they're describing it is not. It doesn't fit the way the viruses mutate, from my understanding. And there are a lot of experts who would agree with that, well-credentialed experts who would agree with that. And so there is a thing, right? There is a thing, and it's causing this upper respiratory thing. And, it's no different than like any other year, except there are agendas at play that are way bigger than, I think, even some of the extreme conspiracy theorists. I don't even think like they have an accurate beat on it, but it's it's kind of crazy to think about. But most of the emails and the questions that are coming in are asking people who have been vaccinated, right? And most of them, it was kind of a choice that they would not have made if it weren't for the jobs that they had, and that's to a large degree. So if they didn't work for the folks that they worked for, who were saying, if you want to continue to work for us, you're going to get a vaccination, they wouldn't have gotten it. So they got it, and now they're saying they regret it. They wish they could go back and choose again. They would literally quit their jobs and not get the vaccine and figure out, something else to do. So, there are billions, literally billions of people who received the vaccination. And, there's I think, number one, it's going to, like, wishing you could go back and change, like, is not going to be helpful, right, at all for anybody. Whether it's, whether you're talking about a relationship or a vaccination, right? So a lot of folks want to know within Source Energy Medicine, what can we do to help? And, there's two types of these things, right, these shots. The one type is the mRNA, which is modifying your messenger RNA, which is like editing a blueprint that then makes, affects your DNA, and it affects the way your cells are built, right? It affects so much physiologically. And the biggest challenges are that, it takes an average of 10 years to get a vaccine approved, to get it authorized and then officially approved. And with these ones that are being, just widely dispensed, there were no animal studies done. It was rushed. And what, they've been trying to have an RNA thing released, and I have to say words like thing. I know the word, but I can't say the word without getting shut down here. So I trust you know what I'm talking about. There have been numerous attempts over the years, like literally hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars spent trying to have an mRNA thing that was successful, and none of them were. And yet here, for some reason, we rush this one through and think it's going to be different in some way. And some of the outcomes from especially the animal studies revealed a few things that I think are really important to know about. The first one is pathogen priming. So what they found was initially it looked like the things were working, right? And the animals seemed to be doing well. And then they would, they would test it. So they would introduce the animals to the pathogen that the thing is supposed to protect them against. And what they found was most of the test subjects got seriously ill, and the death rate was extremely high. And what they realized was that there's something going on where it actually primes the pathogen to actually be more devastating. So the symptoms were worse, which sounds like Delta variant to me. And then the death rate just escalated, right? So they haven't, right? They've been trying to come up with an mRNA thing for the common cold for decades. Maybe not the mRNA, but a thing for the common cold for decades, right? The mRNA stuff is relatively new, and by new I mean, medicine moves slow, unless it is rushed by the powers that be, those who have the authority to push things through. So I think the things to be aware of is if you did get the shot, then just be hypersensitive to your body, right? To how you're feeling. And certainly, the content that's in the emergency preparedness masterclass that I produced last year would be so helpful for those who did receive the shot, and I think it's essential for those who did not receive the shot. So those who did receive the shot, you really have to be very aggressive, very proactive in your treatment, right? You have to be, I think, much more on top of it and realize that it's going to likely occur very quickly in terms of it's going to go from something that doesn't seem like much of anything to something significant very, very quickly. And a lot of people want to know with the energy work, right? Most folks who join me here on SEM Mondays know that I've been including a group energy healing session as part of SEM Mondays. And there is an energy healing method, right, an approach to source energy medicine. And a lot of folks want to know, well, beyond the charging labels, what can we do with energy work? And can we do something that would be like being able to go back in time and choose again? And I've been experimenting with that. And, the phenomenal thing for me, the thing that enables me to sleep very, very, very well at night is within all of source energy medicine, charging labels and energy work, the worst thing that can happen is nothing. And the best thing that can happen would be nothing short of what most folks would describe as an amazing blessing, if not a miracle. So that enables me to be able to work with folks knowing that there's no harm that can be done and only a positive benefit can come from that. So I've worked with about, enough people that I'm tracking this to the point where, energetically speaking, it's been very, very successful. So the only question is, well, how do we then start sharing it and stay, a free man? And by that I mean a man who is not incarcerated, and without having our platforms, shut down. So we'll likely do a master class that will be specific for those who did receive the thing and wish they didn't receive the thing. And then we have energetic tests, right? So we can energetically test to see a wide variety of different things, right? And then, of course, measurable results in terms of what the client experiences is the most important part, right? And an awful lot of people, especially folks who are in our online workshops, do energetic testing, right? I teach folks how to do a form of finger muscle testing, a form of finger kinesiology, if you will. So, there are an awful lot of folks within our community who do energetic tests. So it's not just me doing the work and testing and saying this is the outcome. So there's a whole bunch of people who are collaborating within this, and then within the non-material community within Source Energy Medicine, right? That's the energy healing community. We're talking about all of this, and we have a not regularly scheduled open office hours this week just to talk about that, because our next open office hours is another week away, and I think this is a pressing enough thing. And I say it's a pressing enough thing because I'm getting so many requests that are essentially the exact same thing. So, if you did receive the thing, I think you have to come to terms with it in some way, find peace in it, and know that there are a lot of things that we can do to help to minimize, if not completely transform, balance, and restore everything to the point where it's really not something to even be concerned about moving forward. It would just be like being able to walk through this life on a different trajectory, a different timeline altogether, and to be able to have peace in it, right? So, one of the striking things from the Vaccines Revealed docuseries was there were so many experts who said, and I've been saying this since 2003, maybe 2002, that the viruses and the bacteria are not the bad guys. And I have to research this further, but there's some evidence that Rudolf Steiner talked about this in the 1800s and literally said that viruses are part of our human evolution. We can't evolve without them. And yet we have waged a war through modern medicine and through chemistry, right? All these crazy cleaning products. And a lot of these crazy cleaning products are going to lead to massive health concerns moving forward, certainly infertility, both men and women. A lot of things to really, really be, to educate yourself about. So it's, it's hard to find. The thing that I love about that docuseries is I get my news from a couple of different resources, and it's become pretty obvious throughout this entire thing that there is no mainstream media source where you're going to find anything close to the truth. So you have to find credible people who are doing things like Patrick Gentempo and Jeff Hayes are doing, and you have to listen with discernment. You can do your own research. There's a lot of stuff that you can really do on yourself to empower yourself, but you're not going to hear any truth out of mainstream media or Washington or any of the governing boards, right? That it's kind of sad to say, but to go to our government for advice, especially around something like this, we can't do it anymore. We can't do it without being lied to, without being manipulated, without being coerced. So I hope that makes sense. And, I think taking the time and investing and watching, it doesn't have to be that docuseries. There's a whole lot of people who are interviewing some highly intelligent people, very well credentialed, who, if you read that stuff, you wouldn't be concerned about the flu thing or what they're calling a pandemic at all, because it really isn't. It's no different than an influenza or a flu or something. And those who are at the greatest risk are certainly those who are 70 years or older, and those who have coexisting conditions, right? And folks who live in environments where the air pollution has a lot of large particle, a lot of pollution that's the large particulates, right? So New York City, Tokyo, lots of different parts of China. But you know where you live. You know what the air quality is like. The air quality here, this is the first. We've had worse air quality in previous years, mostly due to forest fires, and yet this year, you'll probably hear it in my voice and my throat. It's heavy, and I'm working on it a couple of times a day, especially these last couple of days, because the air has been very strange. It's been unusual. I've lived in the same place since 2004, so it's a lot of summers to experience here, and it's between the pollution and climate change. There's just so much to be aware of, and yet the best thing that we can do is to make sure that we're at our ideal energy level, right? Make sure we're eating well, exercising, getting out. If you watch the clip that I sent around about with the two women who are experts in the personal protection equipment, they've worked in hospitals, they've worked in industry, and they're basically saying, don't wear a mask. It's not good for you, and it's not going to help. It's not going to prevent you from spreading anything, and it's going to complicate things, and the likelihood of you getting sick, especially more long-term challenges, goes up exponentially. So you really have to do your research and realize who is funding mainstream media. And it's unsettling, but so keep an eye out. If you did receive the thing and wish you didn't receive the thing, you likely want to join us for I think it's going to be a master class. I don't know what it's going to look like. We're still trying to figure it out, and that's one of the reasons why we're having this special meeting of the folks who are in our non-material source energy medicine alumni club. But it's something that I have enough experience with that I know that it is a really, really exciting option for those who did receive the thing. And those who didn't receive the thing, I don't think there's a whole lot to worry about other than, be kind and gentle with yourself and especially with others as you go, about your day. But it's unsettling to think about, It's unsettling to think about when the truth really, really, really becomes widespread, when it is revealed, when enough people hear the truth, there's going to be civil unrest that I don't think we've ever seen before on this planet, because folks' lives have been turned upside down. It's been financially devastating to billions of people. I have friends who have lost businesses, and it's just caused so much disruption for the profit and the gain of a few who want to control all the rest. And I can't help but bring humor to it, because it is that's where the unrest is going to come from, right? It's like we can't laugh at this anymore. So it's kind of unsettling, but if you really, really, really do research and you do get to the truth, you're not going to be concerned about COVID. And I think the bigger concern, and I certainly don't want to create a higher level of stress for those of you who did receive the vaccination. And there's a big difference between the mRNA and the other. And the other, there are some experts in the Vaccine Reveal docuseries who are calling it a Frankenstein-like vaccine, and that it's an attempt at a combination of between an adenovirus and a coronavirus. And no one really understands why they tried that approach, but there too, even though it's not a shot that's going to affect your RNA for the rest of your life, there's serious concerns about that one too. So I think either way, if I don't know, I mean, it's, I talk about all of this in really, really good depth and with much more freedom in the emergency preparedness masterclass. So if you haven't checked that out, I think it's essential. I've been including a link in the show notes to our SEM Mondays, so you could click that. I do a walkthrough where I walk you through what's inside the masterclass, so you get to see it. And it's I think the content that is in there is, from my perspective, completely priceless. And the price point, I think, is I kept it as low as I possibly could, and we do have a limited number of a limited amount of scholarship funds available. So if you ever want to do any of our master classes or online workshops and you don't have the resources, just talk to us and we'll figure out a way of either breaking it up into payment plans, or if we have scholarship funds available, we'll be able to offer you some of that. So I hope that makes sense. Let me just see what is going on in the chat here. Let me read Teresa's. It seems to be jumping out at me. Teresa says, "Hi, Stephen. Regarding the virus, I get confused between experts saying it hasn't been isolated, with some indicate they have antibodies to the virus. So there are antibodies, but there is no isolated." So if you watch the Vaccines Revealed docuseries, there were several different interviews, several different experts who said that all of these reports, all of these studies that the CDC is basing their information on, that Anthony Fauci is basing his information on, they contacted the people who did those tests, and they did not isolate COVID-19. So there really is no COVID-19. And by isolated, that means it was looked at under an electron microscope, and it was photographed, right? It was identified and photographed, and it was isolated, right? The PCR tests are absurd, and that is criminal. That's absolutely criminal. And the gentleman who won Nobel Peace Prize for creating the PCR test said very clearly, and so many experts are quoting him, showing quotes from him, saying that it is not intended to diagnose infectious disease, right? It simply identifies biological material, right? Genetic information. And the more you magnify it, the more information you're going to see. So, and there are some fascinating tests that confirm all of that as well. So it's, so there is a coronavirus. It's not COVID-19 because they've never isolated it, but there is a coronavirus. It is causing this upper respiratory stuff. And, I think the most alarming part is that, how many people are dying because they're being treated inappropriately in hospitals by, very diligent, very caring, very loving health professionals who are treating it incorrectly, because more often than not, it's bacterial pneumonia, and they're treating it like a virus, and it's just complicating things, and people are literally dying because they're treated without an accurate diagnosis. They're being treated under assumption, and, which we're going to have to come to terms with in some way. I don't think there's anybody, who hasn't been seriously touched by all of this directly. So it's, gives me, a bit of solace knowing that we at least can come here, God willing, every Monday and have a chance to be able to talk about some of this and experience what for me is probably the most important part of SEM Mondays, and that's the opportunity to do a group energy healing session in which I'm able to share with you. I can't share with you everything that I share when I work one-on-one with a client, but I can share with you the things that are the most essential to your physical health and well-being, and that's what I have been doing for the longest time. And a couple of things, if you don't know about the non-material aspect of source energy medicine, the energy healing work itself, when we're done here, just type those words into the search bar on YouTube, and you'll find a video on my YouTube channel where you could watch all about that. But it's the same technology that's in the charging labels, except it's much faster, it's much more direct, and it's completely safe. The worst thing that can happen, as I said earlier, is nothing, And the best thing that can happen is absolutely what I would describe as miraculous, and it's what most people describe it as, magnificent blessing. And, to a lot of people, source energy medicine is the answer to their prayers. It absolutely was for me and continues to be all these years later. So on your end, it's interesting because I think it's a really, really, really important for you to know that, especially within the energy work, you are always healing yourself. I am acting much more as a guide. I don't use the term healer, quote unquote. And even facilitator, it's pretty close, but it's not really accurate. I'm a couple of steps ahead of you on a path, and I'm helping you to remember how to heal yourself. Remember how you were created, right? Remember that love that you were created from. Remember that love that you truly are. And everything else is a matter of just ends up being resistance in one form or another, and to a large degree, that's the work that we're here to do. So, get as comfortable as you can physically, mentally. This is absolutely, for me, part of my daily spiritual practice. And I think bringing some reverence to the work and honoring the healing process, and just allowing yourself this time to no distractions, turn your buzzers or ringers off. I turn my camera off, so what I'm doing is not distracting, and there'll be chanting, hopefully, going on in the background. It's always kind of a guess whether it's going to be chanting or not. There's so many moving parts technically for all of this to work, and it seems to be working now. And I really, really like encouraging you to pick one goal or one challenge per session. And there's absolutely, it seems like, based on feedback, huge benefit to revisiting either this same replay from SEM Mondays, this episode of SEM Mondays, or any of the others. There are a lot of people in our community who, all of this time, have been once or twice or three times a day taking advantage of the free replays as part of their daily spiritual practices, part of their daily wellness plan. So think about what it is that you would like to receive, what you would like to work on, and go ahead and get as comfortable. yours to come. And if your eyes are closed, please go ahead and slowly blink them open. And come on back here and now to SEM Mondays Live here on YouTube. And, yeah, I am, my gosh, I can't imagine what my life would be without source energy medicine. I mean, no, I have ideas, I have glimpses. I certainly don't like to think about it. But I also don't like to think about what my life would be without this energy work. You know, it is such a gift, such a blessing, and in so many ways, and especially because it's completely safe, right? The worst thing that can happen is nothing. And within it, we're able to do so much to help to support you, to support anyone with whatever your challenges are, whatever your goals might be. And I love that I'm able to do enough within a group setting to be able to support you in what for me feels like very real and measurable, deeply profound ways, specifically around your physical health and well-being. So I hope, I do indeed hope that you receive this session, this work, these gifts with an open heart, and I hope that you do receive them deeply, and that they do have a positive impact on your life. I always love to hear what you experience, from this work. So you can, even if you're here with me live and you don't have words for it, you could always come on back and just leave a comment. I think it's inspiring for me, which a lot of days I need, especially when I look around, right? And there's a lot to have concern about, and finding truth within it all is becoming harder and harder. So I encourage you to take the time to invest in your health and well-being, and to check out the replay to either this or any other SEM Mondays, and take massive advantage of this energy work to be able to support you. During all of this, we've never had higher levels of stress. We've never had higher levels of fear. We've never had the uncertainty and the unrest that we have. So, again, next Monday is a holiday here in the U.S. I will not be here live, but God willing, I will have an interview that I did just last week with a woman named Joanne Palladino, and she channels energy that she refers to as Shemaya, and Shemaya she has come to know as the language of light. So it was a lot of fun doing the interview, and the work for me was very moving and just so ripe and rich and potent. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. And take really, 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 really good care of yourself and those around you. Please be kind. Please be generous. Please open your heart and fill your life and the lives of everyone that you encounter with grace. There is no such thing as a chance encounter, and even if it's a person who is helping you to check out, or you get on the elevator with, or sitting next to somewhere, there's a reason, Course in Miracles would say the only real reason is to give and receive love, and then the only question is, what is that going to look like, So don't advise you to say that to folks, unless, of course, you're at a Course in Miracles conference. Then you could just look at the person next to you and say, well, I guess we're here to give and receive love. What would that look like for you? And you could also share what it would look like for you. So I think it's kind of cool to think about, and yet there's so much other stuff that gets in the way of being that and doing that. So as always, my friends, I wish you continued blessings on your journey with Source Energy Medicine. Bye for now.